The reality is we're not designed for this level of exposure to human beings as we are being exposed to in this current climate. We have social media, we have internet, we have dating apps, we have the ability to get webcam girls, pornography. We have such an exposure to humans that we've never been able to do, or nor are we prepared for. So what's happened is when it comes to forming relationships, it's done the opposite. What it's done is made people crave connections but have no idea where to start and how to connect. So the reality is, what I mean when I say we've turned narcissism into and labeled it as feminism, unfortunately the advent of social media has accelerated the status of women far more than it has for men. What social media has done is allowed women a platform to kind of showcase their body, their preferences, basically put themselves on the marketplace. Men don't really have that same access, so we're creating that division between them. And what it's done is allowed women to leverage their beauty in a way that they've never been able to do before. Before, if you were a beautiful girl, you were just beautiful in your city and people would like you, but you'd marry the guy in the city and you'd have a great life. Unfortunately, now if you're a beautiful girl, you can be a beautiful girl to the world and you can have 1 million followers. So it makes every man disposable. Any man she's with essentially becomes disposable. So unfortunately, what's happening is women are learning that they become this almost like a deity in terms of beauty in a way that they've never had before. So that's what I think is happening for women. In terms of men, the main problem that's occurring is the access to pornography and the access to beautiful women. What that is doing is them seeing all these beautiful girls thinking, I want those girls, but I don't want rejection. So what I'll do is find a way to access those girls, and it comes in the form of pornography or webcams or anything like that. So what's happening is we're distancing the sexes from each other through the advent of the internet. And if I could control the algorithm, I would wish there was a way of people being as honest and sincere as they possibly could be, and removing the idea of trying to protect themselves in the form of idolizing money or sex, because that's usually what people are doing. They're protecting themselves. They're going into relationships saying, I just want someone rich, or a man is protecting his ego saying, I just want someone who's good at sex. They don't really want to get vulnerable with each other. I wish people could put that aside and put their true values of vulnerability and authenticity as a forefront, and then the algorithm could find them somebody along those lines rather than feeding their ego. The point of a relationship is to kind of create a shared meaning and purpose. Now, throughout history, that's always been to create a family, like a shared meaning and purpose, but it doesn't have to be primarily a family. I've noticed in couples that don't embark on a family, they find a shared meaning and purpose in the form of a business or in the form of shared extended families. Maybe their brothers and sisters get on really well, maybe they have nieces and nephews or whatever. They create a shared meaning and purpose. Now, relationships which lack a shared meaning and purpose in the form of either parenting or same values or anything, they tend to end up drifting apart. So the purpose of a relationship is somebody that you can enjoy life with whilst maintaining a shared purpose and meaning that is aligned to one another. Well, the thing is, unfortunately, we have to look at our values, and once we know what our values are, we have to start learning to reject rather than glorifying the one ingredient we like. So what I mean by that is, say for example, I meet a man who just glorifies beauty. Having a beautiful partner, it monopolizes his brain. So what will happen is he might meet a beautiful woman, and the beauty of her will allow him to kind of submit to all of her demands, no matter how unreasonable they are. So she might be asking for more money than he's prepared to give, or she might be disrespectful, she might be cheating on him, she might be doing this. They're forgetting all of what the ingredients a healthy relationship looks like and focusing on an egotistical desire. Similarly, if a man has money, a woman might ignore all of the other red flags and just glorify this one extrinsic trait. So what I would say is, if you want to start a healthy relationship, make sure you have a balance of values, what you really look for in a relationship rather than what you look for to boost your ego. The people that glorify one ingredient tend to have lacked that at some stage in their life, or lacked access to that at some stage. So they glorify it and they allow all other behaviors to be ignored, but then it eventually leads to a divorce. It eventually leads to children's homes being broken down. It eventually leads to people being crippled in the future when it comes to starting relationships again. It's so destructive. So I would say, if you want a healthy relationship, have a look at your values and make sure that they are healthy. And is the person you're attaching to ticking all of the boxes, or are they just fulfilling an egotistical desire that you have at the moment? Essentially, what psychology has always found is when two people come from similar backgrounds, they have a higher rate of them becoming successful in a relationship, only because they understand each other's norms and values in a way that nobody else can. If I understand that, let's say, for example, silent treatment was given in my house, I know to give you you're giving me silent treatment, we'll get back to normal. I understand that pathology in you. Or if I understand that, it can even be in a toxic way. If I understand sometimes some people swear at each other, then you get back together. We understand each other's norms and values. What arranged marriages do is two parents will choose parents who are similar to them. So what will happen is they have children who have been raised relatively similar. So those two people, when they get together, tend to have shared norms and values. So there's an element of unspoken understanding that doesn't exist when two people in the real world just meeting each other randomly, especially now that we have dating apps and I can meet a man in Colombia and a Colombian man can meet a woman in Ghana. It's so different. So we're only going to end up attaching on egotistical desires, either because we like the way each other's looks, or we might get on with the same music, or might have the same taste in movies, but our actual upbringings are very different and norms and values are very different. So that's why I think I can understand the logic behind arranged marriages more now than ever before.